Hi, my name is Gamma B, and if you were unfamiliar with my channel, which you probably are, I usually make content talking about video games, but today I wanted to talk about not video games. I wanted to talk about the Amazing Digital Circus. And now, before I get into this video and talk about the nitty-gritty, I want you to know that I am recording this a few days after having seen the movie in theaters, and there will be heavy spoilers for the movie, and this will be going up the same day as the worldwide YouTube release of episode 9 on YouTube and Netflix and fucking Disney, Hulu Plus, all that other streaming bullshit, wherever else the digital circus is. I really don't want to spoil the movie after its release, so please, if you haven't watched it, it's a good experience, it's an enjoyable piece of entertainment, so if you're here and you haven't watched it, then what the fuck are you doing here? So maybe I'm outing myself here a little bit, but I'm a big fan of the Amazing Digital Circus, like a big one. I wouldn't say I'm part of the crazy fan base that exists, but I do enjoy the show, and I've been enjoying watching the entire series since 2023. Not only did the pilot leave viewers in shock, including myself, but it was a really scary concept of being trapped in what is essentially a goofy digital hell with no hope for an exit. I mean, there might have been an exit, I don't know, but we'll get to that. And through each episode, we got little hints and details about what was actually going on, but it was never substantial enough for us to really get a full understanding. And, you know, it was leading us on with lots of tips and little details that left people intrigued, wanting more, you know? And as the show got closer and closer to its finale, I kind of started to get a little worried. I was wondering if Gooseworks would really be able to tie everything together in a satisfying conclusion that, you know, goes down in indie animation history. And that show definitely will go down in indie animation history. Probably one of the actually, I don't know if that's true, but it definitely will go down in indie animation history. But will it go down in history for its finale? That's kind of the question. Okay, so first things first, I guess I should talk about like positives. I have a few positives and I have a few negatives that I want to talk about. Things that I enjoyed and things that I thought needed some more time. So let's do this. Okay, so enjoy the TF2 gameplay in the background. The video itself is not going to be related to the Digital Circus in any way, shape, or form. This video is purely just me getting my thoughts out of me, off my chest, because I like this show and this movie and I want to talk about it. Even though this channel is generally focused around gaming content, I wouldn't mind branching out into other types of content. I'm kind of trying to figure out the identity of this channel anyways. So anyway, that's not important. Let's focus on the Digital Circus. That's what you're probably here for, right? You're probably here for the Digital Circus. So anyways, I thought before I went into the movie, we obviously knew someone was going to abstract. And I think that was no, I'm not going to say that word. I said it too much in my last review. Interesting. I think it was super interesting that we knew someone was going to abstract. We didn't know who was going to abstract. It was kind of suspected to be Jax the entire time. Like that was it was pretty obvious. I'm going to be honest. It was pretty obvious, but it was fun to speculate, I guess. It was really fun to wonder what will happen to the characters once Kane was deleted. I was hoping the circus would slowly degrade, but it somehow slowly got better, and that could have been from the characters, like in the episode, they kind of, I don't know, they take 5 minutes to be like, yes, you can conjure things, but you can only conjure shapes. You can only conjure fucking floor tiles to cover up these holes, to patch these holes in the wall after Kane died. That's kind of the only thing they really do with the whole conjuring thing, besides episode 8 when wishes in the office building that never gets explained. Yeah, there's some gripes. Okay, I got some gripes. There might be some little petty comments, petty little jabs here and there, but overall, I'm trying to be fair because there are things I did enjoy about the episode. Another thing that I wasn't hugely excited about was Gooseworks was... I think Gooseworks is one of Gooseworks' biggest weaknesses is she doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. And I don't mean that in like a mean way. I mean that in like stop tweeting things. Stop. Like, get off Twitter, please, because she just kept saying shit like, oh, no one will be able to predict the ending, and oh, it'll be unexpected who abstracts, and it's like, girly, We predicted the ending. We predicted who was probably going to abstract based on your storytelling and stuff like that. And both those things came true. So it's the kind of things that let fan bases get out of control because a creator doesn't know when to shush, when to zip their lips. You know what I mean? And I'm not a fucking director. I don't make movies. I don't make video games. So this is why I always preface this in like every video. I am just a dude who feels passionate about shows and movies and games and whatever else. So I don't know what the best strategy would have been. Probably just for her to not say anything or to talk about primarily the show and be like, you know, lead people on and be like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen because you're gonna have to watch and find out, you know, that kind of thing. But they were just making it sound like she was just making it sound like it was the second coming of Christ. And it's a good show. It's a really good show. Like every episode was great. It's just the last episode that was just a little too crunched into one. Like I think, and I'll get into this later, but I think there needed to be more episodes. Now, I knew going into the movie that there was going to be some questions that were left unanswered. Like I said, I was kind of nervous about the movie. I was kind of nervous about just what was to come because I don't know. I don't know how they were going to answer every single question in 60 minutes. And that was pretty much what had happened is they didn't answer all the questions. Yeah, it was a lot of meandering with Jax and ended up pissing off a good chunk of people, and we'll get to it. But anyways, there were a lot of questions that were left unanswered, and there were a lot of questions that were unsatisfyingly concluded or just completely blown off. Like they were like, oh yeah, they're brain scans, doesn't matter. It's like, what? The whole mystery of the show was that how are they going to get out, if they're going to get out, if they can even get out at all. And in literally the first 3 minutes of the movie, they just go, yeah, they're brain scans, doesn't matter, they're not getting out. It's like, dude, we've been watching this whole show wanting that mystery to have a bit of oomph. Like, yeah, we probably knew that they weren't gonna get out, but like, anyways, we knew they weren't gonna get out, but it was just like, seriously, you couldn't have waited until maybe the end of the episode to like recapture that dread that Pomni felt in the first episode, where she realizes, holy shit, this is my, you know, the song is called literally Your New Home. Like this could have been the moment of absolute dread where they have to come to terms with the fact that they are stuck. There is no getting out, and they are not who they think they are. And I think that was a bit squandered by just throwing that away in the first episode, or in the first like 2 minutes of the show, or okay, let me try that again. And I think they kind of squandered that by throwing that away in the first 2 minutes of the movie. Okay, so now we got the start of the movie, or I guess this is during the movie. These are my points that I want to talk about as I was watching. The start of the movie, right before the movie starts, there's this fish who is voiced by the awesome Zach Hadel, who, if you didn't know, is actually one of the co-creators of Smiling Friends. Really funny dude. Kind of sounds like he needs to blow his nose. Anyways, he basically sums up what you're about to watch and then literally begs the viewers. He literally begs. And I know it's the funny little cartoon 3D fish, but he literally begs. And he says, please do not spoil the movie for anybody. But considering the movie leaked like a week or two earlier in the Brazilian dub, and the fan base can be pretty damn insufferable, it's pretty hard to avoid spoilers for the movie at this point. Not to mention that there were so many people who did not listen to the fucking fish and just posted clips on TikTok and Instagram Reels where just spoiler right in your face, no warning, spoiler. And it was, I genuinely hate fan bases. Like I don't like to consider myself a part of fan bases because they're usually the most fucking miserable, like maybe not miserable, but they usually just like, I hate them. I hate it. I can't put it into words how much I hate fan bases. They ruin everything. Anyways, and I was honestly kind of disappointed when I found out there were a lot of content creators that were making videos reviewing the movie in the final episode. And I was like, okay, I get it's like your job. I do. But have some integrity. You seriously can't do anything else in that meantime. Maybe make the video, do what I'm doing, make the video and release it on the day the actual episode releases, so that when people see the episode, there's new content to react to it. Because guess what? Newsflash, some people in some countries, sometimes there's theaters that aren't getting the movie, and there's some people who just can't afford to go to the movie. So not everybody is going to see the movie. And yes, they don't have to click on your video. They don't have to watch your video. But I was still really disappointed when I found out that there were a lot of people just making videos about it. So anyways, so they, like I said, they basically reveal the brain scan thing almost immediately. And like I said, it was really predictable. And harking back to Gooseworks' comment on, oh, no one's going to be able to predict the ending. It's like, for a show that felt so revolutionary, Black Mirror did this like 8 years ago. Like, there's that episode where, I'm trying to remember the name, but there's that episode where the USS Callister, I think is what it's called. And it's literally just this guy who's a dick, who's a boss, everyone treats him like shit. So he takes their DNA and he puts them in this little game. So whenever they treat him like shit in the real world, he can take out his anger in the game. But the people in the game are basically brain scans. They're basically like, I think the show calls them cookies, but they're basically a clone of the person who thinks they were the person who wants to get out, wants their life back. It's literally just the Amazing Digital Circus, but like 8 or 9 years ago. And I had that feeling the entire time I was watching the show, as I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like USS Callister. But it was not unpredictable. And I hate that Gooseworks does. Listen, okay, I'll get to it, but let me finish this point, I guess. Even like Matt Pat predicted this ending, like in one of his first film theories about it. Back when Matthew Patthew was still running the channel, he predicted the ending. He said, oh, they're not real people, they're brain scans. I think it was like he did like a few theories. So in all honesty, it was kind of a letdown to just like completely sideline the idea of being unable to leave. Like, I feel like the movie should have focused on their last desperate attempt to escape the circus. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe a character gets abstracted or a character gets deleted or something, and they're all like, okay, maybe if we make it to the void, we can finally escape and get out as the circus is crumbling around them. And then when they after they finally get to that point and the circus is almost completely destroyed and maybe they've lost a few people along the way, they look at it and they realize we're brain scans, we're never getting out. And that's dreadful as fuck, honestly, and that's really depressing. And maybe they could have done something with that, like, oh, then Kane comes back and goes, I didn't want to tell you, but yeah, you can't get out. You're not real people, right? So, and hey, it was Goose's show, so I respect what she's made, and I did enjoy. Like this might sound like I fucking hate the ending, but I really don't. There was a good amount of stuff I did enjoy, which we'll get into. Now, I feel like I said with the brain scan thing, I do feel like it was a bit lackluster in terms of reveal. It should have been a very horrifying sentiment to the people stuck in the digital circus. And I get that the message, like Gooseworks has said, the message is about accepting your place in life and finding happiness anyway, which is a good message. But I just think they get over it a little too quickly. And there's a big thing that people complain about with the movie is that Jax got a huge portion of the movie dedicated to him and his backstory and his secrets and everything, and he abstracts in the movie, and Pomni does this thing where she gives him a hug and goes into his brain, and she gets to see the different facets of Jax and his backstory and all this interesting stuff. And I love it when shows and games they do this thing where they dive into the mind, like think of and no one's gonna get this because it's a terrible game and I love it, which I should totally make a video about it. Anyways, Dick Y2K, a postmodern RPG, has a section where a dungeon. First of all, there's a whole concept of mind dungeons in the brain. But anyways, you go inside someone else's mind dungeon and you get to see a lot of their psyche in its most raw and honest form. And I love when games and shows do that. I find it really interesting to see, like, if a character's not going to explain themselves and how they feel, then fucking go in their brain, man. Find out. Like, I love it when shows do that. I really do. I find it super, super, super satisfying. And just like, it always gets me interested. I'm always like, oh, well, I care about this character and I want to understand them. So let's do it. I feel like Jax taking center stage for most of the episode was not exactly the best idea. I think if this wasn't the finale, I would love it more. And Jax was my favorite character. He still is my favorite character, even after finding out the shit that he's done, and is not good shit. But and maybe a lot of the fan base aren't ready to hear this, but people are complicated and everything's not black and white. I like Jax. I liked his reveal. I liked his storyline. I just didn't like that this was so focused on in the finale. And I checked the timestamps, and it's roughly, for a 60-minute movie, it's roughly a third of the movie is dedicated to Jax and his backstory. And for a 60-minute movie that's not that long, that's quite the crunch. That's quite a lot of time spent on not the other characters. Like, we didn't get to know anything about Ragatha. We didn't get to know anything about like a little bit about Gangle, nothing about Zubul. Like, I wish we got a bunch of episodes. Like, if we got like a season where it was like 20 episodes or something, and we got a dedicated time with each character and learned more and more about them, this would this would be more satisfying to see. Like, it would be sadder to find out that they can't leave the circus. Like, that would be more heartbreaking, and it just feels like it wasn't set up enough. But like, it's an indie show, so I can't judge it for not being perfect, because it's the fact that it's not perfect makes it kind of beautiful. Like, it's a good show. I loved every episode of the show, and even the finale. I like the finale. It shouldn't have dedicated so much time to Jax, and the controversy that came out of the finale, of mostly people being divided on condemning Jax or understanding his feelings, was interesting, but it's not like, I feel like that's maybe not the best thing you want at a finale. Like, don't you want a satisfying conclusion where people can walk away and say, that was nice, I'm glad I watched this show, it was satisfying. Like, it feels like shows don't really know how to do that anymore. Anyways, not important. Like, it's not, I can understand why a good portion of the fans are frustrated. I get it. We wanted more from other characters. We wanted more from the world. I wanted more from the circus. Personally, I wanted to see more of like what the circus is, why it is like that, why it's so abstract in a lot of ways, and why it was created the way it was. Like, I don't know. I wanted more stuff from the circus. That's all. Like, a lot of people just wanted answers for stuff. Like, for example, why does King go crazy when he's in light, but he's very lucid in darkness? Was it a mental modifier placed on him by Kane that was teased in like episode 7? I don't know. They never explained it. We literally got no explanation as to why Kinger is like that. They just are like, yeah, he's like that. And I just wish that we got more of Jax's backstory before the big finale, so that we have time to like Jax, to come to understand him. Like, if we could see him through a redemption arc, it would just be satisfying. It's satisfying to see a character that's so hated, so complex, so complicated, and we finally get to understand him, and then we get time to realize that, oh, he's just a person. He's just another complicated person in this wacky digital world. But anyways, I'm rambling like crazy. It just felt rushed. It felt like they were trying to cram 40 different things in the final episode. And sorry in advance if this episode is just, or if this video is just rambling, crazy rambling. I will say, however, I'm a big fan of the diving. Oh, I just think we needed more episodes to really smooth everything out, And Kane's redemption happens way too quick. Like, if we got an episode where he was gone for the entire episode, and then he comes back the next episode, maybe. But he literally gets deleted the episode before and then almost immediately comes back. The whole scene of Kane in the void briefly getting an internet connection and seeing the people of the digital circus on the outside world was interesting, but we also see a scene of Kane finding the brain scans originally and adding people to the circus, and I thought originally that this was Kane finding the brain scans of the abstracted people, because he finds like a folder and it's labeled like obsolete brain scans. In hindsight, I've realized that this is him finding out that, like, he found the file of the brain scans. The people in the outside world put the headset on, took it off, said, oh, it didn't work. It did work. It just, Kane needed to activate them or something like that. And so we see Scratch when he originally showed up in the circus. The problem being is this scene is playing simultaneously with Kane browsing Instagram, so it's a bit hard to tell what the fuck is actually happening. Like at first, I was kind of, like I said, I thought he was fixing the abstracted people because it was the obsolete brain scans, right? It just felt weird to be showing two simultaneous things at the same time. It was hard to understand because of that. And then there was also Kane removing the blue AI and setting it free. He kind of just pulls it out of his brain and like throws it straight into the void. And that's great and all. But my girlfriend commented that wouldn't it make more sense for him to remove the red AI? And yeah, I kind of agree. But at the same time, I think Kane's essence is mostly the red AI. And the fact that the blue AI was inside him was kind of like breaking him almost. Like they couldn't exist in the state they were existing in. And it was just not working. And Kane even says that. He's like, we can't exist like this. But I don't understand how that's like, how does an AI have an epiphany? I get storytelling, whatever. He's a character. Sure, you can do whatever you want with a character. But I just don't understand how an AI has an epiphany. Anyways, and he decides to be good, I guess. Pulled a Steven Universe with that one. Sure. Personally, I'm not a fan of this kind of trope. It's, you know, it's okay, Space Hitler. We forgive you for killing millions of people and torturing us in a digital hellscape for years. We forgive you. Like, are we serious? It's okay to condemn a villain, and I get that Kane wasn't necessarily a villain until like episode 8, but at the same time, he still made their experience in the circus fucking miserable. And yeah, that is, you know, that's not really, he's a flawed AI, right? So he's not gonna do anything perfectly, but and he never listened. Like, they talked to him and he didn't listen. So, you know, what are you gonna do when he doesn't fucking listen? But it was so fast. Zubla even says like, oh, it's going to take us some time to forgive you. And then once he shows them their Instagram real counterparts, because at the end of the movie, he's like, I have something to show you. And he shows the cast the real counterparts in reality. And it's cool to see the comparison there. But the one thing that I don't find very believable, like, okay, first of all, let me preface, it is heartwarming to see them accept the fact that their real selves are out there and they are not them anymore. But at the same time, I would be pissed. I would grieve my life. I would be jealous of the real me. I would say, that's me. I deserve to be out there. Why am I not out there? And that is something, that is an aspect that maybe Gooseworks considered and didn't want to explore. But I find it a lot more interesting than them just accepting it for what it is. Like, the whole series is about them struggling to accept that this is their life now in this digital goofy hellscape that is just like, they can't be themselves and they miss their lives. They want out. And yet when they find out that they're never going to leave, they get over it in like 10 minutes and then don't even like, aren't even upset about it. That's what their existence is now, that they're just copies. Like, it would be so cool if we had a character that would grieve their lives. Like, if Jax was still there and not abstracted, and he saw his life out there where he was like, I know, you know, like, I want to encourage people to watch the episode. I don't want to be another one of those content creators that just explains Dystoria stuff, because it's better to watch it and then get an explanation. And I'm not condemning those content creators. I'm just saying that go watch the episode, then watch this video. And I should have prefaced that at the start of the video, but whatever. It doesn't matter, dude. I just want to make a video talking about it. And even if this gets no views, I don't care. But whatever. Anyways, I just think that if Jax saw how his life is going outside the circus and liked it, he would be jealous and saying, that could have been me. I could have made those choices and I could have lived like that. And he was upset about that. And I get it. Like, that would be frustrating. That would be so heartbreaking. That would recapture the dread that was captured in the first fucking episode. You know what I mean? And I don't find it believable, but I don't know, whatever. It's not a real story. I need to fucking get over that. Anyways, but at the end of the day, let's be honest for a second. This is a great show. I think Gooseworks did great. It's her story. It's her show. She did what she wanted and made something great that brought a lot of happiness to a lot of people. And I think that's something that she should be really, really proud of. even if she fucking hates the show because of the shitty fan base. Sure, it's not perfect, but honestly, I think it was beautiful. It was really fun watching the show grow and evolve with each episode. The visuals evolving every single episode was always something that I was excited to see. I always wanted more after the credits were rolling, and that's how you know it's a good show. Just kept you wanting more, you know? And maybe that's why I feel so dissatisfied with the ending. Maybe I just wanted more. Did the show need more? Yeah, probably, but that's okay. I think it's good where it's at, and God, I know Gooseworks is probably set for life, so she probably doesn't want to touch this dumpster fire ever again. And it's a good show. The ending was a bit rushed, but I think it was a great show. I would probably give the whole thing a rating, but to be honest, I kind of want to challenge you guys to go watch the video and show and form your own opinions about everything. And after all, I'm just a nobody on the internet, so what does my opinion matter? I usually talk about video games, so yeah, this is weird for me, but I'm trying to figure out my identity right now for this channel. I'm going through a busy time in my life, and I've had not a lot of time to edit, but I'm still learning good editing skills, and I'm still like, the next video is going to be the best edited so far. Like, that's how every video is going to be. It's just going to get better and better and better and better. It's just going to take time, because until this is my full-time job, I can't focus on this. I can't make this my whole life, right? So anyways, go watch the final episode of the Amazing Digital Circus. It should be out now when this video releases, and I'm going to date the video here, but June 19th, 2026. Go watch it. Go enjoy it, or don't enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, either condemning me, condemning the episode, condemning Gooseworks, fucking anything, dude. If you think my opinions are dog shit and you want to tell me about it, fucking let me know. Like, go off in the comments, dude. I want this video to kind of be a safe space for people to talk about what they want to talk about. Like, I'm not gonna fucking flame you because you had an opinion, okay? So if you just want to say, I didn't like this about the final episode, comment down below. I want to hear what people think. Maybe there's something I missed. There's a lot I didn't talk about, and it was a lot of me complaining as well in this video. I'm now realizing that, like, the script I wrote versus what I actually said is quite different, but I liked it. I want you to understand that I liked the episode. So anyways, no more rambling. I'm gonna end the video. I don't want this to be too long. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate your time, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Ciao, and I'll see you in the next video when it exists.